samosa today, or some other savory, or some other meal. And you rightfully pointed out, you actually look forward, or you actually hasten making sure you don't end up staying next to that person. And sometimes you can't avoid it, because although as much as strategic you can be, you end up next to that person. And how do you avoid that, so it has happened to me when I actually ended up next to a person that I did not want to end up because of the burping. So what you do is you read your Isha, you read your Sunnah, and you rush out, pretending to go to the wudu khana to drink water or something else.
Oh, your wudu broke, so you could be the one who had to experience flatulence and had to move out.
No. You pretend to go and make wudu. And hopefully, when you come back, you end up next to some other person, so you avoid that entire 1 hour of burping. But yeah, look, as much as irritating and annoying it can be, it could be a medical condition. It could be something that one experiences only in Ramadan for various reasons, because you're not fasting. You're fasting the entire day, not having meals the entire day. So it could be something to do with your internal digestion system. Exactly. So yeah, besides the jokes aside and so on, it's something that we really need to speak about.
And that's why I've got accomplished dietitian Sister Faaizah Laher here, who is going to assist us, because Faizah's great passion in life is assisting others to feel and live healthier by showing them how to cook and eat healthier, and to embrace the wonderful benefits of mental and physical well-being. And I mean, not being labeled a burper actually is part of that psych in mindset. Before I let you go, do the mask help now? Because I'm not in congregational salah, so I wouldn't know. Are the masks helping in terms of ensuring that the older one emanates from the burping is now slipped back to one who burps? Are the masks helping in that regard?
Outside Ramadan, you worry about masks and you worry about COVID-19 and social distancing. But in Ramadan, you worry about masks and to avoid the burping. So they have definitely been helping, Abba Mariam. And I'm glad that I don't want to say this, that we have to wear masks in the mosque, but to an extent, it's really a good prevention. And to be on the receiving end, it's definitely an asset to oneself.
So you're not smelling it because your masks are protecting you.
Yeah.
And the person who's burping is now well aware of now the odor that emanates from the burping, so that will make them more cognizant. Jazakallah for joining me. In Ramadan, it's good to also have some light-hearted moments, and this one is. But let's delve into the reason with accomplished dietitian Sister Faaizah Laher. Why is there, is just that burping is around, or is it the fact that in Ramadan people bulge a lot more, and the reason for that? So looking forward to that segment. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Faaizah, and thank you for joining. I'm told we've got Sister Faaizah on. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Welcome to Inspired Afternoons on Salam Media.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So we were speaking, we want to discuss belching, and I've just taught everybody in the studio, because they were looking at me when I said today I'm discussing belching, and I said, belching is the correct term for burping. So you're going to educate us on this. And I'd like to know now, why in Ramadan? Because this is a topic of conversation. Every Ramadan comes on and I see people making haste, and then it's a discussion prior to Taraweeh, after Taraweeh, at family tables about who are the burpers, and who had meals, as well as the fact that people are so pleased now they have to wear masks, because now at least, they don't get that odor that emanates from burping. So please tell us about what is the causes of belching, and why in Ramadan, the reasons why could be that there's an increase in belching then in Ramadan.
So everybody has gas, and everybody needs to eliminate the gas either by burping or by passing it through the rectum. So when some people think that they have too much of gas, they need to ask themselves, is my burping increased during Ramadan? or is it normal for me? Like I burp throughout the year and it's the same amount, it hasn't increased, or it has increased. And if it has increased, you need to have a look at why has it increased? What do I do, or what have I eaten that the belching has increased so much more? So it most of the time should be odorless, but if it is a very has a very strong smell, or if it makes you feel uncomfortable, then you need to look at what you're eating or what are you doing that is increasing the belching during that time. So a lot of the time it's just swallowed air that needs to go somewhere. It needs to get out, and if it's not eliminated, it can cause a lot of discomfort and a lot of pain if it stays in the stomach for that amount of time. If it's got a very if it's very gassy, or if it's got a very strong smell, then it's probably got a lot of sulfur or spices or things mixed in there. So the one reason it could be that really, really large meals are a recipe for gastrointestinal distress. So, I don't know if you know, but an adult can take from 1 to 1.5 liters of food and liquid at a time. So that's quite a bit. And if you've had extra helpings, or if you've had extra servings on the side, this can go up to 3 to 4 liters. So that's quite a bit of food. And when we eat large amounts of food quickly, it increases the pressure in the stomach, and the gas in the stomach has nowhere to go but up into the esophagus and then into the mouth. So the number one was a huge meal. Number two is if you are eating way too fast. So it's normal to take in some air while you are fasting, but if you're eating too quickly, and if you're eating and talking at the same time, you could be swallowing more air than you're used to. And that could make you burp a lot. And if you're eating a large meal and you're eating really fast, those two are both a recipe for disaster. If you are sucking in air, so even if you're eating slowly and you're mindful of what you're eating, you could be ingesting excess air and burping or belching for a lot of other reasons. And the medical term for this is bloating and belching is called aerophagia. And a lot of things can cause this, like sucking on hard candy after iftar, or chewing gum, smoking, or even hyperventilating. If the person has a lot of anxiety or stress attacks, those could all be reasons for taking in a lot of air. And then number 4 is eating certain vegetables can also cause a lot of gas during digestion. And these are from certain sugars, starches, and fibrous foods that can make a person belch a lot. So things like onions, broccoli, cruciferous vegetables, including eggs, meat, fish, and garlic, can cause, quite smelly belches. So if you find that you belch a lot and it's got quite a strong smell, then look at decreasing those foods or eating foods without onions or without eggs. So if it's savory, is dipped in eggs and then still fried, that could be a reason. It could be a reason like, for example, lactose at iftar time. So people who drink a lot of sherbet or falooda or milkshake, it's the sugar in the milk and then it's the sugar from the syrup that also causes that indigestion, and you have that belching again. And that can be quite uncomfortable. And then if the other reason could be if you love something that's very fizzy. So fizzy drinks cause a lot of discomfort because they keep the stomach distended for a longer period of time, and the valve on top of the stomach doesn't close properly, so the air keeps going up. And if you have reflux, then you get a little bit of food and air and acid going up at the same time. So that can be quite uncomfortable, during Taraweeh. And then another one is if you usually suffer from acid reflux, so you're a person who usually does have acid reflux or indigestion anyway, and it just gets worse during Ramadan because you're hungry throughout the day. So, looking at eliminating coffee, milk, fried foods, sugary foods at iftar time can make a big difference and can make it much more comfortable by starting with something like a whole grain bread and yogurt, or a little bit of fruit, because those are easier to digest than foods that have a lot of dairy. And then also foods like spicy chutneys, hot sauces, anything with green chilies also aggravates the acid reflux, and then the belching becomes really just very bad or intolerable during Tarawih time. And if these factors impact your prayers, then you might want to look at changing the way you eat so that you feel much more comfortable during Tarawih. I hope those were easy and not too many facts all at once.
So, Sister Faaizah, I'm just saying there goes the iftar table, because the chutneys are eliminated, the fried foods are eliminated, all the good things that you equate Ramadan to or synonymous with Ramadan, iftar is gone now. We've taken it away and put in, I think, healthy options. But you're right. So so we decided on discussing belching on Thursday, and on Friday during my Tarawih praying, I then had a few burps, so to speak. But I then said, I need to ask you, but I've got now my answer there, because I actually had healthy, because for iftar I had a yogurt cut up, yogurt with cut up mango and some muesli and honey sprinkled on there as well. And obviously I had dates, and then I had something that was, I think it was a crispy strip, but it was olive oil. So it was healthy, baked in the oven. But I realized also it's not only about the food, but how you eat, because in your haste to make it for Maghrib Salah, before the Salah gets on or before the time goes for Salah, I act very quickly, and it could be that I was swallowing a lot of air. So it's not so much also, so it is, yes, the type of food you eat, but also how you eat has an impact on whether you're going to have increase belching or not.
Oh, definitely. So what you can do, it's just a lot of behavioral changes.
Mm-hmm.
So break your fast and have a small snack, like maybe start with some fruit and yogurt, and then pray your Salah. And then when you come back after Salah, then you can have your meal or your main meal. So then you don't feel so rushed, and you can eat slower and more mindfully, so you don't also overeat. And you'll enjoy your food better as well, because you're not rushing to get to Salah,
Yes, so I like what you said, mindful eating, and I think everybody should be mindful and cognizant on what they consume and how they're consuming. So it's not only what you consume, but the important thing is also how you're consuming, because I think we've all shifted to a greater understanding of healthy eating and what constitutes healthy eating, but also how we need to eat our food and to be mindful on that. So chew a lot. So if you have the time factor, maybe switches around as you advise. Have something small, go and pray, because then you're not focused on just wanting to eat. So then you're not, and then when you come back, then you have a greater time increment between Maghrib and then Isha, your Tarawih prayers as well, and then you can focus on this. But sometimes, you know what, I sometimes have carbonated water or that, just to give myself a good burp, because sometimes you feel everything sitting on your chest. So does belching have then a purpose in terms of digestion? So is there a positive to belching in terms of digestion?
There is a purpose to belching, because as the food is digesting in the stomach, it produces gases. So those gases have to either go up or down, if you think about it. And if it's really uncomfortable, like you say, we often drink something that's very fizzy just so that we can let that air out, so we feel more comfortable. But you want to really avoid circumstances where if you have an acid reflux and then you're drinking fizzy drinks and then you're getting a lot of indigestion or acid going up into the esophagus, and that can be very uncomfortable, and that's actually very unhealthy, or it's harmful to the body. Because, the acid in the stomach, it's an acid. It's a stomach acid. So it burns the esophagus. It can be very uncomfortable. So you want to make sure you eat slowly. You eat in small amounts so that you don't need to feel that way. So that you need to, so you don't feel a burn, or you don't feel that burning sensation or that uncomfortable feeling associated with it. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. And as you've said, the lining of the esophagus with acid reflux does then be affected in burn, and then that leads to additional discomfort as well in the burning sensation. So, as you've said, belching has a purpose in terms of digestion and that, but we need to watch. So, is there, let's say, good foods that actually aid digestion in belching? That we should maybe increase in terms of if we have that feeling of bloatedness or we feel indigestion.
Yes, so yogurt is really great for the stomach, very, very cooling. And a lot of people have been doing, yogurt as dips, or yogurt with cucumbers, also very cooling for the stomach. And then foods that are very rich in hydration are also good for the stomach, like melons, watermelons, freshly cut fruit. So you also want a lot of fiber also. The stomach loves fiber. Fiber acts like a sponge. So if you think about those green sponges we have in the kitchen, fiber has both effects. It's got a scrubbing effect where it keeps the gastrointestinal system clean, but it also absorbs water. And as it moves through the digestive system, it absorbs a lot of things like cholesterol and different toxins and things like that. So, fibrous items like whole grain starches like brown rice, long grain rice, whole wheat pasta, bulgur wheat, whole wheat breads and things like that. Really great for fiber. And then vegetables that don't cause gas or make you feel uncomfortable if you have that problem. So we said onions, cruciferous vegetables like, broccoli, cauliflower, things like that. But you can still do things like, lettuce and salads, and lightly steamed vegetables also are very soft on the stomach and are very easily digested also after they are very easily absorbed after they're digested. Foods that are higher in fiber are generally higher in vitamins and minerals. So we get really a maximum benefit from these foods when we do consume them. And then your lean proteins. So, chicken, fish, beef or lamb, all lean, fat removed, not fried, so grilled or curried or stewed or anything like that. Also, easy for the stomach, easy to go through. And as long as it's not really big meals, you shouldn't have a problem.
Sister Faaizah, it's been very educational and informative, and hopefully now we're going to have less of those burps, and we won't have the need for burping police anymore, because everybody, please do watch the segment or share it with those listening. So if you see that you know a burper personally, maybe just send this clip, send the link and send it to there, because Sister Faaizah has given us really factual, informative information to lessen this. And as you were speaking, alhamdulillah, for me, every time I learn something, it just reaffirms my belief that this is a perfect way of life, because that was the sunnah practice of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in terms of the cucumbers, in terms of the melons, so balancing it out with having your date with cucumbers, having your date with melons in it, because these are all cooling for your for your tummy, the labna, that's your yogurt and that. So alhamdulillah, you know what, in every aspect, even if I bring a medical dietitian and experts as yourself, Sister Faaizah, we get back to sunnah, and it just reaffirms that alhamdulillah, if we even practice a sunnah way of eating, that is a blueprint for healthy eating and overall health. So
definitely. Thank you so much for your time. And so we've got a social media platform going with a lot of the sunnah foods, the reason behind eating them and how to incorporate them in your diet. So it's called elementaryRD.sa. And go on there and have a look at the recipes we've got and the little tips we've got going to help, the followers in Ramadan, just to make it a bit easier so that they can get maximum benefit. They can eat all the sunnah foods that they want, and they can pray, comfortably without feeling uncomfortable in the evening.
Shukran, Sister Faaizah, for your time. And we're going to take a short break, and thereafter it's going to be educational insights. All this on Salam Media.